So I bombed a gig last week, not in a burn the building down kind of way, more in a I knew before I walked on the stage and it showed kind of way. And I want to talk a bit about it, not because I enjoy public self-flagellation so much, but because I think there's something genuinely useful in here for anyone who speaks, performs, presents, or puts themselves in front of an audience for a living. So if you'll give me 8 minutes of your time, I promise I'll make it worth your while. So here's the situation. I've been doing stand-up comedy alongside my speaking work for a while now, for just over a year. Last week I had a gig. It was supposed to be my first of the year, but it ended up being my second. And it was an open mic night. Now, general audience, and I was opening the show, which is not my favorite position. However, I'd had months of notice for this. Months. So I had no excuse whatsoever on the preparation front. But, life did what life does, and weekends disappeared, and other work took over, and a prior comedy gig took priority as well. And I found myself on the day of the gig trying to write new material from scratch. Don't even ask me why I made that decision. I had a set ready to go from the week prior and had made the decision that that was kind of specially written for that event, but it still could have worked at this particular event too. So some decent stuff was coming up in the writing, but nothing that was ready to be done from a stage, certainly not to a level that I would be happy with. So I ended up retreating to safe ground. So I made the call to do some older material. Now, the only problem with that really was that I hadn't touched that material in a while, and there was no real time to rehearse it or barely review it. And I made a decision that I've never made before in my life on the comedy stage. I took a set list out on the stage with me. Now, I sometimes had a set list in my pocket, but I've never actually taken it out on stage, or never actually, even if I have had it out, never actually looked at it. Now, a set list isn't something unusual on an open mic comedy stage, but for me, in that particular moment, pulling that out wasn't practical at all. It really was me confirming to myself what I already knew, that I wasn't prepared and I wasn't ready. And then my opening line died. complete, complete silence. In fact, bemused faces. It was that very specific, very airless silence that every performer knows and dreads. One flat beat and I was gone. An opening line that I'd been so proud of, and it died on its feet. With that, my body decided to start sweating profusely. My face decided to go beetroot red. And if you've ever watched a performer visibly unravel in real time, you'll know it's uncomfortable for everyone involved, not only the person on the stage. Now, the host, bless him, he blamed the crowd afterwards. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the solidarity, but I didn't take the excuse. I mean, okay, maybe a contributing factor, but the crowd was what it was. And I've handled tougher rooms. So for me, it was on me. So here's what stings most about this for me. And I do actually mean stings, not here's my humble brag disguised as a lesson. I already knew this about myself. So when I'm learning music, nobody gets to hear it until it sounds good. Not a note, not a rough version, nothing. I talked about this with Clinton Young on my last episode. If you haven't heard it, go and check that out. There's so much gold in that episode. But I don't let anyone hear a rough version, nothing. I don't share my works in progress. I never have. I'm not comfortable with it. I keep things private until they're ready. So I should have known, really, that stand-up comedy, the creative process, would be exactly the same for me there as well. The real failure on that stage wasn't the flat opener, wasn't the sweating or the set list. It was overriding my own self-knowledge under pressure. I knew I wasn't ready. I went on anyway. Now, I know there are performers, there are comedians who can get on there and they can pull them from the notes list and they can do stuff on the fly. I am not that comedian, not at this stage. I'm still a baby comic. And so it's amazing, really, that I then had the audacity to be surprised when it showed that I wasn't ready. Now, the thing about performing under pressure, it doesn't reveal your talent, it reveals your preparation, or in this case, lack of it. I want to make this relevant for you because if you're listening to this show, you're probably a speaker or a coach or a trainer, someone who presents professionally in some capacity. And you might be thinking, John, I can't do stand-up comedy. What's this got to do with me? Everything, as it turns out, because the cascade that led to that bad gig, months of notice, life getting in the way, last minute decisions, no rehearsal time, is exactly the same cascade that leads to underprepared keynotes, flat training sessions, and presentations that don't land the way you knew they could. And here's something that I want to say directly: the bar has risen. Even at grassroots open mic level, audiences in 2026 have seen so much polished content on Netflix, on YouTube, on TikTok, that they notice when you're not bringing your best. The bar is raised, the standard is higher. It's true for comedy. It's equally true, more true for professional speaking. The audience might not be able to precisely articulate what's missing, but they will feel it. So, what am I actually taking away from this? Well, two things, really. The first, never go on stage unprepared. I know it's obvious, but sometimes you need a bad night to remind you why the obvious rules exist. Respect the craft, do the work, no shortcuts. Second, and this one's more interesting, I need to build up my improv skills, because here's the truth: preparation is a non negotiable, and you need the capacity to rescue yourself when things go sideways. A flat opener shouldn't be able to take down an entire set. I would say maybe it didn't. I did recover it a bit toward the end, but the ability to read a room, to pivot, to recover, bring the audience back with you, that's a separate skill. I haven't yet figured out how to stop my body from sweating once it starts, or how to stop my face from going beetroot red. I'll have to work on that one. But I am proactively working on my improv skills this year. And again, you would have heard me talking about that with Clinton in the last episode. Preparation protects you. Improv saves you when preparation wasn't enough. You ever see those comics that do like the audience work? They talk directly with the audience and a lot of interaction. They're not really prepared material. They're riffing on stuff. That is a level of improvisation that I would not be comfortable with. But with practice, with experience, with flexing those improv muscles, probably could. And I would like to. I'd like to at least try that. Not looking to become, an or audience work kind of comedian. I still like to have prepared jokes and act. But the second half of my set was better, I think, by the way. I got some laughs. And so, things settled down. I found my feet, the redness in the face, I could still, my face was burning and my shirt was dripping. But I found my feet a bit more. And well, in modesty, I'm going to say I probably ended up still being the funniest comic of the night. Not so much saying that to rescue my ego, but because it matters. It wasn't a talent problem. It was a preparation problem. So when I got to material that I remembered more, that I was more comfortable and confident with, things started to flow a bit more. I was able to bring things back. And the audience, thankfully, came with me somewhat. My husband, my husband confirmed that afterwards. Honestly, without softening it, it is exactly what I needed, even if part of me wanted my metaphorically grazed knee kissed better first. I shook it off faster than I expected, and that's new. So I'll take that as its own kind of progress, as a win as well. The lesson I keep coming back to is this: winging it is for the masters. Improv is for the people who have practiced the improv. The only people who are really good at improv are the people who practice it. Winging it is for the people who know the material so deeply that spontaneity is just another form of the preparation. They have the headspace, the mental room capacity to be able to be more flexible. They're not trying to remember the next joke, the next line, the next point in their talk. It's not for the rest of us. Not yet. So do the work, get on the stage, get your reps in. And if you bomb, extract the lesson and go again. Wherever you're going, whatever you're doing, have an amazing rest of your week. I'll see you next time. Bye now.